All right. So, everyone, welcome. This is my second day of 10 days YouTube live. And today's topic is about overcoming your hurdles or struggles or barriers as an IMG. Now, I think this topic is not commonly talked about. It's kind of like special topic today. So, we're going to talk three common barriers for IMG, which is language barriers, relationship barriers, and financial barriers. And the reason why I choose this is because these are the three common reasons why somebody unable or not don't feel like going to the US even though they want to. Second reason is I have all three barriers. I have language barriers, I do have relationship barriers, and I have financial hurdles when I come to the US. And the third reason is because I have overcome all three. And that's actually the reason why I can be here today. And I cannot teach some things that I didn't do, but I have done this, so therefore I can teach to all of you how to overcome these three things. So let's start talk about the language barriers. Now, so remember, language is part of communications. Communications is a way bigger than language. So this is going to be kind of specific for the English language. Now, this is not going to be an English class. I'm not going to teach English. The thing is this: if you are a doctor, you're a physician, wherever you come from, most likely, my guess is you already have a good comprehension. And the reason is because the journals and textbooks, a lot of them are in English, and you have to consume them in order to understand and your knowledge. And so my guess is you already have a good comprehension. But remember, the brain that comprehend and the input part and the output part is different. Remember the Wernicke and the Broca area? They're different areas, right? Wernicke is for the comprehension and the Broca is for the output. So most of the time, my guess is your comprehension as the doctors would be already really good. It's just the output, for example, like speaking or writing, that's the one that we can have trouble with. That's what I had trouble with when I first came into the US. I barely can speak, can barely order food, use my fingers, point out which food I want and how many I want. Two, three, and such. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to activate your broca. So you already have the Wernicke, the comprehension. We just have to activate it. Now, today I'm going to give you some just very, very basic practical tips, things that you can do to activate your broca area. Now, before that, this is kind of like the diagram, what we're trying to do here. Uh, Before we can communicate, that's using verbal and non-verbal. We're gonna have to be able to speak and make a dialogue, which is communications between two persons. There is a giving and there is receiving. And before that, the very basic part is actually just articulate and say and speak. So try to do it on your own before. So you do monologue and dialogue, and then you can communicate. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about accent. Look, I think accent is great because accent gives a sense of diversity. I don't think you have to get rid of accent completely. I have accents. English is not my native language, as you can tell, but it gives a great sense of diversity. Now, not all Americans they like certain accent and doesn't like the other type of accent. But those are the patients. Patients are not really the one that gives you the match for residency. You see, the healthcare community itself embrace diversity. They like diversity. Therefore, they're really open to all kinds of accents. That's just the medical community in the US. So you don't have to get rid of all of them, but you have to reduce it enough so people can understand you. All right. Now here is the practice that I can give you. This is gonna fix your accent, improve your articulation, and really just start activating the broca. What you need to do is you gotta find your favorite speaker, podcaster, wherever that might be, okay, and then listen to him or her. Pay attention to how he articulated, his rate of speech, his volume, his tone, his pronunciations. You pay attention to that and you copy. That's it. That's how we learn language as a baby, right? And as a baby, a toddler, we just copy our parents, copy other people. This is what you're going to do. You just have to listen and then try to copy. Pay attention how they move their mouth, how they move their tongue, volume, all these things, and try to copy. And you record yourself, and you have somebody to listen to it and ask for feedback. Now, the first goal is very simple. The first goal is it easy to understand me speaking? And we say, yeah, yeah, of course. That means you passed the first part. That means your accent is reduced enough so people can understand you easily. And this practice is just to really activate the movement of your mouth. It's really just connecting that part of the brain so you can speak clearly and more confidently. Then it's time to that's the monologue part, like the speech part. Then you can move on to the dialogue practice. Now, this modern days, we have ChatGPT. So let's say you're not really confident enough to talk to somebody, you can talk to an AI. And ChatGPT nowadays able to you can speak, and then they can give you they can say things back. You can create many kind of scenarios. You can make the patient scenarios. Although it's not really real, I haven't really figured. I'm pretty sure there is a way to put a prompt to make it more real, more human-like. Because this you're gonna see this. I'm pretty sure you know this already. I'll just say it. If it's a real patient, when you ask something, they answer it something else. You ask, well, since when you have the diarrhea, and they said, well, you know what? I have this joint pain since. So that's a real human being. Now, ChatGPT is very smart. When you ask them when you have diarrhea, they're gonna answer when you. So it doesn't feel like a real human connection where you see a real patients, and they speak. They're gonna going all around, and then you have to redirect them. But it's a good practice. Good practice. It's at least it's still a dialogue. You give and you receive. Now, the next step is I know it's kind of hard to find somebody to speak to, but these days we have like video random chats like Chat Roulette, Chat Hub, Emerald Chat, Chat Random. Omegle is one of them that's a very, very famous. I didn't mention it here because it's not really safe. You might get very distracted. You try to practice and then, yeah. Anyway, so this one's, as far as I know, it's safer than Omegle. Or the best one is really to find someone you can practice with, and then you have that dialogue and conversation. And lastly, communicate. So communication, as I mentioned before, is involved both verbal and non-verbal. So you need to have the body gesture as well. Now, this is the issue here. Now, for IMGs, they can come from any countries. They have a different culture and have a different some variation of body language. For example, people from Korea or Japan, they bow. Like the lower they bow, the more respect they give to the other person. That doesn't really apply much in the U.S. Right? And then for other maybe my Indian friends, they move their heads. And the Americans doesn't understand what that actually means. I still understand what that actually means, but you wanna. What I'm trying to say is you wanna keep on your universal body language, universal body language. So I'm gonna give you some of the basic tips. So you keep your gesture open, right? Americans usually don't like if you do like slouching like this, or you try laid back. Just keep your gesture open and neutral. Hands. Don't hide your hands. Keep your hands open, right? And then smile when appropriate. Smile when appropriate. They love, they see if somebody smile back at you, they see that you're warm and welcoming and more gentle. And of course, you smile when appropriate. They give you a sad story, they have to put down their dog. Don't smile about that. Right. Now, I actually want to give you some more of the non-verbal stuff, but due to time of limitations, I won't be able to do that. There are a lot of I need to do some cultural acclimatizations, whatever you want to call it, to know what is considered to be rude in America, but not rude in different countries. Things like that. I'm gonna talk about that sometime soon, the future. Now, relationships. So this comes to the second barrier. This is the most difficult one to overcome because every person situation is different. There's no way I can solve every people's problem. But the big one is actually the long distance. And this has been solved to the fact that so many things can be, well, kind of thanks to pandemic. A lot of things can be done remotely, right? So here, so step one, step two CK can be done in your home country. There is no more step two CS thanks to COVID. And you can take the occupational English exam in your country. And that's actually really big because you have to travel and you have to pay so much money. That's really big. And the USCE, if you really want to save some money, there is an option through a tele rotation. Even though it's not ideal, you ideally you want to be in person and then show them and then pan out. But it's an option. You can still do tele rotation. And the interview are now virtual. Most interviews are virtual. Solve a lot of long distance relationship problems. So the time really when you need to go to the US, it can be, it's possible, even though it's kind of difficult. It's when you start your residency. Now, I think this is a good chance to talk about, well, again, it's long distance, but you're going to move to the US, right? And you probably, if you have a partner, you want to convince her or him that you want to come to the US. And I think this is the best time to talk about why should you come to the US. What is the advantage of becoming a doctor in US? Actually, there is a lot of advantage, but I'm gonna come down with these three basic ones that would be my favorite. All right, the first one is high salary. Okay, salary for doctors in the US is ridiculous. I think it's quite ridiculous, but it is. It's just a fact. That on average, US doctors would make $250,000 a year. So once you become a doctor in the US, it gives you financial stability. Okay? The second, it's good if you make $250,000, but if you go to work and then your staff, your colleagues are abusive, you don't feel comfortable, you stress out, that would be really awful. Like that's not the case in the US. US has a great work environment. The people are great. They respect each other, which I really amazed. They they have a non-blaming culture. They have a sense of support. Everybody gets everyone's back. They're focused on patient care. So I remember my attending. He, I really respect him, and he only get upset if we don't take care of patients properly. That's it. The focus is patients. We want to take care of them, and it's not about really anything else. So you really go to work and you can enjoy your work with awesome colleagues around you. Right now, my medical assistant, I would say that she is amazing. She get the jobs done very quickly. My patients love her as well. So when I'm surrounded with a lot of great people, when I consult and talk with the consultants, everybody's respectful. It's great. So not only the money is great, but when you go to work and do your work, you enjoy them as well. So that's very important. And the third one is time. It's time. So if you make, let's say, you make $250,000, okay, great. You go and then your colleagues are great, but you need to work 12 hours a day. It's gonna be difficult, right? You see, you don't have that balance, work and life balance. But in U.S., on average, U.S. doctors will work about 40 hours a week. Now, that's basically on average, and primary care usually works like me. We can choose to work 4 days a week. I personally do 5 days a week, but more like shorter hours. One day I'm gonna make a video about salary, about my lifestyle, and then the time, the work hours, etc. But basically, you have a lot of time. I enjoy my time with my family. I have really, I spend a lot of time with my family, enjoying my afternoon. Because I really done my work after 3 p.m. I've done pretty much everything, and then I go enjoy my time with family, dinner time, teach my daughter piano. Great. It's great. So those are really my three favorite. But there are more. US have strong education, limitless career growth because there's so much like specific specialty that you can go to. Gives you freedom to do really whatever you want. It's America. It's the spirit of America is freedom. Depends on where country you're from. You know, America has freedom of speech, so you feel safer here. Great satisfaction of patient care because you can always go over the moon or and beyond for your patients, whether that's transplant or stem cell or when your patients are sick, you can really do everything that you can do in kind of like everything you can do in planet Earth to really treat your patients. And I would like to share that I'm very very fortunate that I live in New Hampshire, where actually a lot of Indonesian patients of my home country actually lives here in New Hampshire. I didn't know that until I signed up for the job, and this gives me a really great satisfaction because I remember when I was practicing in Indonesia, I was limited for with so many things. I can't help them. I can they need dialysis or some sort. I can't help them. But here I can really help there's the people in my country speak my language, and suddenly I have a lot of power to actually help them. They need a stress test. They need an echocardiogram. If they need an EP study to look if there is some block or some sort that make them pass out and then die, I can help them. I can refer them to the cardiologist. They can do it for, and then I felt like it's great. It's great. It's very satisfying for me because I can really do everything to save their life, and their life really was saved thanks to the technology and the resources we have in the U.S. Gives you a lot of satisfaction and entertainment, right? Actually, the America is one of the tourism attractions. We have Disney World, Disneyland, and in the city there's just so limited things that you can do. So those are some additional benefits. So these are the reasons that you can use to, if you really want to come to the US, something that you can use to convince maybe your parents or maybe your partner that I would say if you're a doctor, there's no better place for you to work than in the US. All right, now we move on to the last point, which is the financial barrier. Now, um, I think I might be the only doctor that have the only IMGs that have a financial barrier coming to the US. I think most of my friends, when I did Kaplan, and I think most of my colleagues, friends, they don't have this issue somehow. Like yeah, I have no money. But what I'm trying to say here is that um, there is these three barriers. There's no reason you cannot come to the US just because of these three barriers. Even if you have a financial, there is a way for you to come to the US, right? Now, one of the solutions as already mentioned, right? Because we can do a lot of these now remotely. We talk about how much money we you need to spend at the US, but the biggest cost is what? Living in the US, right? So one of the solution of the financial barrier is to do everything in your home country as much as possible. Okay, do as much as possible. That's already one of solutions. Now, the other solution is to teach US. You can teach USMLE at your home country online. There is a lot of people that actually needs help to learn and study for USMLE. There will always be students that look for a tutor. And this is how you can actually get a US based income, kind of US based income while staying in your home country. Now, I would like to I would like you to be careful here. I'm saying here like clearly teach USMLE at your home country online. Because why? Once you set your foot on the soil of United States with a visa, whether it's a B1, B2, or F1, you're not allowed to work unless you have a work permit. Okay. Don't say that I didn't tell you that. All right. So if I know it sounds like a very silly rules, let's say you have been teaching, let's say not USML, let's say you are teaching Mandarin, okay? But to the American people, they want to teach a Mandarin language. Probably you use Fiverr, probably you teach online, probably you have your own blog or some sort. Well, you have students in the US, and then they learn from you and they pay you. Then one day you're on vacation and you want to come to the US, visiting maybe your family or somebody, and once you set your foot in the US, you're gonna stop those your activity, your teaching activity. Sounds silly, like stupid, but the rule is the rule. I don't know. It sounds like a gray area. I mean, the if you are employed by an American company and you set foot in the U.S. and then you get paid by the U.S. company, that's clearly wrong. But if you're doing privately, becomes gray. But I'm not gonna play games with that because you can really ruin everything. So if you want to do that, do it on your own risk. But because I mentioned that you can do a lot of things in your home country now, it's possible to choose some in your home country online, and that can solve your financial problem. That not only that, actually, those three barriers, the first barrier I would say, will be overcome because if you teach the USMLE, then you will improve your English, you'll improve your communication skills, and also improve your CV as well. You can put your CV on your teaching experience and how many hours you teach USMLE and how many students you have helped to be successful doctors. Is something that you can put in your CV. Now, how you can find the students? It's you just need to join a lot of the social media group, LinkedIn, Reddit, Student Doctor Forum, Facebook groups, Discord group, personal networking, all those you'll be able. I'm pretty sure when you work and you try and keep looking, you'll find the student that you're looking for. So, right, and this is what I was telling you. I'm gonna move myself out of the way so you can see. So the benefit is improve your English communication skill. It will improve your score because when you teach USMLE, let's say you are doing step 2 CK, you've done your step 1, you teach step 1, it will improve your score in step 2 because step 2 CK score is actually correlated to step 1 score, and it's improve your CP as well. So there is so much benefit of teaching USMLE. Now I know some of you may not feel like, well, I'm not really good at teaching, but I think everybody who, if you understand your topics really, really well, you should be able to teach. And maybe one day, if you're really interested, I can teach you how to teach USMLE and how to find students and how to give your introductory way when you start your first session, etc. Maybe one day down the road. I'm gonna move myself down here, and that's it for today. I'm really apologize for the technical difficulties, but we finish it. So, thank you so much. And if there is any question for the audience, I'm open to any question. All right, very good. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much for all of you joining in, and this will be recorded automatically to YouTube. And you have any questions, you can put down in the comments. I'll make sure to answer any questions you may have related to this.